Buenos días a todos. ¿Cómo están? Bien, bien, bien. Qué bueno. ¿Ustedes estuvieron en la plática anterior? Nadie, ninguno de ustedes. Ok, perfecto. Bueno, nos da mucho gusto que estén aquí. Muchas gracias por estar. Felicidades por haber tomado la decisión de acompañarnos en este día, que estoy seguro de que van a salir de aquí inspirados, emocionados, con nuevas habilidades aprendidas o al menos con nuevas inquietudes y con ganas de hacer muchas cosas. Nos da mucho gusto que estén aquí en Technology Hub. ¿Ya conocían este lugar? ¿Ya habían venido a Technology? Ok. Bueno, nos da mucho gusto. Las personas que no habían venido, esperamos que, y los que sí habían venido, esperamos que tengan un día muy productivo hoy, que se diviertan, que conozcan mucho y que le den like a la página de Technology. Métanse a Technology Hub, búsquenlo en Facebook, denle like, porque aparte ahí está toda la programación de este día. Y además síganos en Instagram, Technology Hub. Y pues bueno, vamos a comenzar. ¿Quién de ustedes, aquí hay estudiantes de ingeniería, de robótica, de mecatrónica, cosas así? Ok, perfecto. Bueno, nos da mucho gusto. Estoy seguro de que les va a gustar mucho esta plática. Vamos a tener, la plática se llama Failing My Way to Success, The Journey of the World's First Robotic Psychiatrist. Todos son expertos en inglés, ¿verdad? Y entienden todos los términos. Perfecto. Nuestra siguiente invitada se llama Joanne Pransky y ella es experta en robótica y es conocida como la primer psiquiatra de la robótica en el mundo. Joanne Pransky ha trabajado como embajadora de la industria robótica y durante las últimas 3 décadas ha seguido la evolución de los robots y ha estudiado la relación entre los humanos y los robots. Es editora para el Esmeral Press y el Industrial Robot Journal, además de ser cofundadora del Wiley's International Journal of Medical Robotics and Computer Assisted Surgery, y ha compartido su conocimiento sobre la interacción entre los humanos y los robots a través de todo el mundo. Así que les quiero pedir, por favor, que le brinden un fuerte aplauso a Joanne Pransky.
Thank you so much. I need a robot to handle all these things for me. It is such an honor to be here. And so I'm the world's first robotic psychiatrist, and I want to thank you for allowing me to share with you my 32-year ongoing journey, which I call Failing My Way to Success. So you've heard of the saying, think out of the box? Well, the world's first robotic psychiatrist thinks where there is no box. And here's some of the thinking that I've had for the past, beginning 40 years ago. So I thought that our initial relationships with robots would be similar to the ones we have with our pets. We'd buy them matching jewelry and clothing. We'd pay to have a picture with them on Santa's lap. We'd fight over who gets to keep them in a divorce. And just like we do with pets when they're depressed, we will also have to take our robots to a therapist for behavioral help. And when our robots get depressed, so I was saying that regardless of whether our robots will have feelings synonymous or similar to us humans, we will anthropomorphize. We will project that they have feelings of loneliness and depression, and therefore they'll need a psychiatrist to help them interact with humans and each other. And this cartoon kind of summed up my vision. Of course, it's not me out there yelling at the robot, but so there's a robot on jumping to commit suicide from the building, and that would be me saying, she's not worth it, she's only a vacuum cleaner. Is this stuck? Am I pointing? Okay, and I treated Chick-fil-A robots. Okay, can we go? Oh, sorry. I can't even use a. Okay. So that was 1986 that I billed myself as the world's first robotic psychiatrist. And when I would tell people I was in robotics, they go, "Oh, I love those exercise tapes." And I'd say, "No, not aerobics, robotics." So I was very much ahead of my time, like 50 years, maybe 100 years. And this quote by Azim Premji a billionaire and philanthropist, really summed it up for me. If people are not laughing at your goals are too small. Well, no problem for me. People are not only laughing at me, they just thought I was nuts. I mean, what am I supposed to do for the next century, right? Until robots become intelligent, or I can converse with them and help them integrate into society. So I decided that for my lifetime, or posthumously, or post-singularity, until my vision was a reality and robots really needed me, that during my lifetime that I would do awareness leads to acceptance. In other words, my mission was to, and still is to bring real-world developments of robots to the public. Because when we can see a robot in action, we're learning about it. And so if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then a video of a robot is worth 1,000,000. And people can see what a robot can and cannot do by a video. And I wanted to do it with real robots, not made-up robots or just real-world robots. So my business model was animal experts that would bring animals onto late-night television. You're probably aware of some of these. And the audience would be learning and laughing about animals they wouldn't get to see otherwise, rare animals. And that has been my mission, or tried to be my mission, for the past 32 years with robots. So here are my first failures. So my first, again, it has to have a real application, and we're talking about the late 80s now. So in the left-hand corner is robo-bartender Ernie. And he was the world's first robotic bartender in New York. It was a great application, but it was like the size of this building. There was no way I could bring it on late night. And then on the right, the agricultural industry had developed this pharmatic sow where most of the litter, or a third of the litter of piglets would die because they couldn't get to milk from their mother. So this company had a great solution where electronic teats would come out and make an oinking sound, and it was just a great application. And I wanted to bring that on to late night, but I couldn't bring animals. And then the owner didn't want his robot being made fun of on national television. So again, late 80s for you. Okay, so then I started to make up my own patients. And then in 1991, I took this Omnibot 2000, which was a personal robot from the 70s, and I made it up that it needed my therapy because it was suffering from low self-esteem and paranoia. And I said, you know what? We're just going to make some pictures and I'm going to take it out in the real world and have people look at it, and that's part of its therapy, that people would have to accept it, just do it. So I had it walking a dog, and I took it to the beach, and I took it grocery shopping, and I had it playing golf. This was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I had it do a drive-through. This was before autonomous cars. I had it at a double date at Morrison's Cafeteria, and I took it to a bar at the end of the night. Okay, and then I pitched, you've heard of David Letterman and Stupid Human Tricks? Okay, so I pitched over a period of 23 years, stupid robot tricks. Oh, is this running? No. Okay, so the video's not running, which is probably a good thing for you, and it just shows some of the robots like 20 years ago that I pitched to bring on to late night. So this was a picture of Grace, and she was one of the first AI autonomous mobile robots, and she was at a conference, and I had the Sony Aibo dog, and a bunch of other, had a robot shooting basketball, and a robot delivering pizza, but to no avail. Okay, more failures. So I've been rejected by hundreds of attempts to bring robots onto the big screen. I've been publicly ridiculed on major websites such as Slashdot.com. I've been thrown out of an interview on National Public Radio in Washington, D.C. And a few years ago, I decided, well, why am I waiting for late night? Why don't I just have my own YouTube channel? So I invested tens of thousands of dollars, and I took videos of robots that have never done things before. For example, I had people in Israel through a telepresence robot that couldn't attend their grandson's bar mitzvah. I brought them together and with this robot. So that was a video that I couldn't show you, but I mean, I invested like tens of thousands, and I think I earned like 16 cents. I mean, okay. So how do I deal with failure? Well, I subscribe to professional salesperson Tom Hopkins. I never see failure as failure, but only as the game I must play and win. And, you know, failure is success turned inside out. And, I mean, I'm human too, obviously, or for now anyway. And when I experience a failure, I mean, I allow myself like a period of time, like a night or a day, and then I have to go to the next strategy and re-strategize the next day. And I try to focus on that. Let me just see where I am. Okay. And Tom Hopkins also says, I'm not judged by the number of times I fail, but by the number of times I succeed. And the number of times I succeed is in direct proportion to the number of times I can fail and keep on trying. In other words, the more shots you take, the more likely you are to score. So statistically, I have had some successes. I've been the co-founder of the first medical robotics journal. I've been an associate editor for Industrial Robot Journal for over 25 years. And I was a senior sales and marketing. You can't see over my height. I'm blocking you. I'm so excited. For Sankyo Robotics, an industrial robot manufacturer. And probably my claim to fame is that I was dubbed by Isaac Asimov as the real-life Susan Calvin in 1989. Do you guys know who Isaac Asimov is? You do? I'm so proud of you. Okay, so I brought Susan Calvin to life in 1986, a robopsychologist, and I made a twist of it with saying robotic psychiatry, and then in 1989, Isaac Asimov dubbed me. And the lesson that I learned here is that you never know who you meet and how they may help you in your future. And then in 1999, I called up Comedy Central Sports Presents BattleBots. Have you heard of BattleBots? Yes, okay, so, and I said, you know, every other sporting event has a doctor on board for its athletes. I think you should hire me for a doctor for your robotic athletes. So I actually did become an official judge for all 5 seasons on Comedy Central from 2000 to 2002. And through BattleBots, I did get my short appearance there on with Jay Leno of The Tonight Show. And then I was successful in getting robots onto Jimmy Kimmel. These were Chinese twin androids, and this was a very successful bit. It was so great that I couldn't pitch anything else to them because it never compared to this. So go figure that. And then I've consulted for the film Eagle Eye and Ender's Game, where I brought real surgical robots and medical robotic users onto 3 scenes. And again, these weren't CGI, these weren't actors. These were technology that existed all over the world in terms of exoskeletons and surgical robots that the world had never seen. And we got the real users. Unfortunately, one of the scenes, of course, Hollywood, they cut the scene, deleted it, but it is on the DVD. And unfortunately, I can't show it today. But that was kind of probably like a very satisfying thing for me because we had real users that the world could see in a movie of different technologies that aid various disabilities. Okay, and I've had some real patients, if you will. So Val the Robo receptionist was designed at Carnegie Mellon University in about the year 2004, the computer science department, and along with the drama department, they did a backstory, and I was her official robotic psychiatrist. And again, this was early days of AI, so she sat at a desk in a building in Carnegie Mellon, and she would talk to visitors. And then on the other side is Bina 48. Have you heard of the robot Sophia? Yeah? Okay, so Sophia is made by David Hanson of Hanson Robotics, and she's probably one of the world's most socially advanced robots. He also made Bina 48, and she's the world's first mind clone. Does anyone know what a mind clone is? So a mind clone is a digital version of a human being, and so she happens to be Bina 48, a mind clone of the real Bina Rothblatt. And we did a documentary last year in which Bina 48, the robot, was the first to complete a college course at Notre Dame de Mure University in Northern California with my colleague and friend, Dr. William Barry. So I never have enough time, never have as much time as I want with patients, but here's an example so you can see how technology is increasing and my vision may become reality. Funding. How did I get income to support my mission? Well, at the very beginning, I did other jobs. I sold commercial real estate, I sold personal computers, I waitressed, and then there was a time when I said, if I'm not working for a robot company, even cleaning toilets, it's downtime for me. So I approached Sankyo and started working part-time. They didn't need a robotic psychiatrist, but I did technical writing, and that grew to obviously selling robots and working in the industry, which is really, really valuable. Okay, so the last part here is what I'm calling strategies for your future, in the hopes that I can share with you what I think is going to be important in your future. And develop the 3 Ps: patience, persistence, and passion. I had no choice but to have patience and persistence because I was like 100 years ahead of my time. And then in terms of passion, actually my first love is robots. My first love is people, and I had to develop and that's why I went into this, to prepare the world for the future of robotics. And my second passion is robots, and that's something that I had to develop over decades. And then I'm suggesting to take 3 action with the 3 Fs. Well, failure, as I've mentioned before, is success turned inside out. If you're not failing, you're not trying. Focus and flexibility. And flexibility is so important because things are going to change exponentially in your future. And we all have to prepare and accept and expect that the future is going to change dramatically. And that's part of being flexible. So back to focus. So multitasking is actually a myth, and much recent neuroscience research tells us that the brain really doesn't do tasks simultaneously, as we, particularly women, hoped it might. A research study conducted by the American Psychological Association discovered that multitasking decreased a person's ability to complete a job by 40%. That's almost doubling the amount of time it takes. And in terms of meditation, this has helped me tremendously. I just started this a few years ago, in being able to focus and being able to really get things done. I used to be the type A at a supermarket, and there would be 2 people in front of me, and I would call the manager to open up another cashier because I didn't have time to wait in line, and now I just kind of do my mantra. It's the cheapest drug on the planet, and I also want to tell you that in your future, I personally believe as a futurist that what is in your brain is going to directly control a lot of devices in your life. It's not going to be your phone anymore. It's going to come from your brain. So I encourage you to, for all of us, to get it right in our thoughts, because probably the first time is going to matter. Okay, so also in your future, 85% of jobs that will exist in the year 2030 haven't even been invented yet. And another study, The Future of Jobs, said that children entering primary school in the year 2016, that their careers would be basically unknown. The 65% of what they would do in their lives would be unknown because of not knowing all the jobs that would be available. And so, hold on. So we all have to continue to educate ourselves. I think I missed a slide here. I apologize. Did I miss a slide? Okay, maybe not. So careers of the future, unknown, and I'm taking a shot here, what I think some of the careers might be: technosexuality therapist, #RobotsMeToo, which I can treat if they're being abused or misused, a electronics design engineer, a 3D body part printer specialist, a reality decryptor, and I say that because the future with virtual reality and augmented reality, we're not going to know what real is anymore. And so I think it's very important that that might be something that is a field in the future. A robot handler, and maybe even, a robotic psychiatrist. So we all have to continue educating ourselves. And Udacity is a for-profit education organization located in California, but their worldwide mission is to democratize education. And they offer free classes, and they also offer their own inexpensive proprietary micro-credential known as nanodegrees in some of these subjects. You've heard of LinkedIn? Okay, so 57% of LinkedIn leaders say soft skills are more important than hard skills. And it's the soft skills that I'd like to point out here: leadership, communication, collaboration, and time management. And to improve your soft skills, you must be good at face-to-face communication. And I think that that's also going to be a career of the future. Wanted, 40 hours of face-to-face human communication time, because that is diminishing. I also believe that the most important skill for your future is to pass on the basis of face-to-face conversation before it is forgotten. And this is my favorite book on the planet, Reclaiming Conversation by Dr. Sherry Turkle, who also says that neuroscience proves that conversation is the ideal thing for teaching empathy and for getting certain kinds of results in creativity, collaboration, and developing the human. There's nothing like the power of face-to-face meetings. And she also argues that replacing face-to-face communication with smartphones is diminishing people's capacity for empathy. You all know what phubbing is? We are all guilty of it. Phubbing is when you use your mobile phone and you reject the person in the social setting. So we're all guilty of phubbing. And I love this cartoon. She's saying, "Do you mind if I strap your phone on my forehead so I can pretend you're looking at me when I talk?" So I'm thinking, well, what's going to be with virtual reality? Rubbing, where we all don headsets. There's no face-to-face. There's no eye-to-eye. And here's an example of, say, a father and son donning VR headsets. They're in their own world, like infants parallel playing. Unless, of course, they're engaged in a multi-user version online of virtual reality, but there's no real-world connection. So STEM is very important. It's a worldwide initiative, as you know, but I would also like to see empathy and ethics added to STEM to make it a STEAM. And I would also like to encourage you to strive for integrity and identity, not immorality or inequity, and to put morals before money. And then my last slide is imagination is more important than knowledge, and Dr. Albert Einstein said that. So think where there's no box and enjoy your journey.
Un aplauso fuerte, por favor, para Joanne Pransky. Muchas gracias. John, I want to give you this... I don't know. I don't remember the award they said to me. It's not an award, but it's
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
How is it? Yeah, acknowledgement.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you. And tenemos tiempo para algunas preguntas. ¿Quién tiene la primera pregunta?
Thanks for your talk. I would like to hear some thoughts about if we are going to face like an epic battle with the robots sometimes in the near future, or what do you think about it?
Well, that's a great question. No, I use the analogy like computers. So if you were to see the movie 2001 Space Odyssey, literally 50 years ago, 1968, you would have thought, oh hell, computers are going to take over, they're going to kill us. And we are completely dependent upon computers. right? The world cannot function, neither can us, professionally or personally. And so that's what I'm saying about robotics. I didn't show you the exoskeletons, but we're merging with technology because robotic technology allows us to live hopefully a better quality life and a better qualitative, better quantity and qualitative life. And keep in mind, robotics solve solutions, right? So there are wildfires up in Northern California. The first thing I could think of is, why are humans fighting that? Why aren't there robotic unmanned vehicles battling that? So I think it's more, and it's really severe in the United States. I think that's inaccurate reporting and headlining, and I believe that we are merging with technology, and I don't believe that robots are going to learn from us, and that's why I'm focusing on the empathy and who we are, the human operating system, which I call HOS, because technology, right, engages and intertwines with our lives. So, right, if you want to swear at Siri, well, she may have a response for that, but if you have a robot in your home and you want to program it to steal from next door, so our technology is really a reflection on us humans.
And also, very quick, your favorite sci-fi movie, if I may?
Well, sure. My favorite sci-fi movie. So you have to understand, the more demented a robot is, the more it needed me. So I kind of like those B movies, like Cherry 2000, and those kinds. But I have to say, probably Johnny 5. Short Circuit, because that came out in '86 when it was like exactly what I was trying to do. So I would have to say that. But thank you. Good question.
Okay, tenemos una pregunta más. A los estudiantes del Instituto Tesla, terminando esta plática, su camión ya se va a ir para la escuela, así que, bueno, se van directo a su camión.
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing your experience with us. I have two questions. First of all, do you think that technological singularity could be achieved? And if it does happen, does this represent a benefit or a threat to humanity? And also, what's your favorite book from Isaac Asimov?
Wow, those are awesome questions. Okay, so yes, I'm a reader and believer of Ray Kurzweil. I think he happens to be the smartest human being without any implant. I would love an implant, but the biological human being, an inventor on the earth. And I just also want you to know that his predictions are 83% accurate, and you can read these online. So I think the rate that IT is increasing exponentially, that it's almost like that's why I did this 40 years ago or 32 years ago. I just had a different approach. Like, I can't stop the rate. It's inevitable. I can't stop technology, but I can hopefully make it being used properly. And so I think that that's what you're going to see, incredible uses that we can't even imagine, whether it's medical care or whatever. But again, if humans decide to use this negatively, but yes, I am a believer that that's why I kind of kid and say we know more post-singularity. But at the same time, technology is kind of seamless. I mean, not so much for my generation, but who would have ever thought, like 1968, they were thinking where computers are today. So it's kind of seamless, right? So we adapt. It's kind of challenging for some of us, but we adapt. We do our updates. We get our phone. We're ready for VR. It just occurs in our life. So I just hope that it can occur in a very positive fashion, and that's why I'm more concerned about humans developing and using technology. And the other question would have to be I, Robot, which is his compilation of his short stories that he wrote in 1950, and so that was, obviously a very important book for me.
We have time for one more question.
Oh. Hi.
Hi.
I'm with Tech Milenio, and I used to teach philosophy there, and one of the subjects that we studied a lot was actually artificial intelligence, and we used to see a video about this robot that lives, I think, in the UK, and he was speaking to a person and saying, I know that I'm a robot, but I know that one day I'm going to have real feelings. And I'm wondering about that, maybe like the movie Her. I want to know what your thoughts are about that, concerning the feelings and the reality of the feelings of a robot, if you think that that's something that's going to happen?
Wow, these are really good questions. So I based my entire 32 years on the fact that robots are going to be extremely intelligent. Whether or not they feel the same way we humans do is another question. I can't imagine a robot feeling the same pain when we grieve a loss of a friend. I also can't imagine a robot feeling, the fluttering when we fall in love. So, but at the other hand, because we humans suffer from it, right? Like depression and, like I said, grief and suffering. Well, wouldn't it be great if I didn't have to do that? In other words, if I could become a little bit more robotic, but willing to give up all the euphoric and really amazing, the feeling of whatever, having a baby or being with a loved friend or something. So I just don't think that a robot or AI is going to be able to feel in the same biological, guttural way that humans do. On the other hand, I think that they will have absolutely response systems synonymous to humans, and that's why I kind of made it up, because it's really not the robot that's going to need a shrink. It's really the humans that work with robots or to deal with robots. So I think it's going to take what Isaac Asimov said, and he said it's a new intelligence. He said robotic intelligence may be so different from human intelligence that it's going to take a new field called robopsychology to deal with it. And I don't see AI, I'm trying to bring more emotional and social intelligence to AI than to just AI. So I'm hoping that, we're not just focused on the AI, but no, I don't think it's going to be exactly the same.
Okay, Joan? Oh, yeah, we're done with the time.
Thank you.
Right now. Thank you very much for sharing with us your experience and your dream and everything. Muchas gracias. Un aplauso fuerte, por favor, para Joanne Pransky. Ahorita, de todas formas, le puedes hacer preguntas aquí.